that have... Today, I want to discuss something a little more serious and health related. There will be mention of some bodily functions, so if you're not comfortable with that, you can skip this video. As I had mentioned in Tuesday's video, I kind of vanished for a month because of a health flare. But I realized, well, people are very understanding that that means I don't feel good. You don't exactly know what that means. And for each health problem, I guess flares are a little different, so I wanted to explain what happens when I have a flare. So let's start with, what is a flare? I have it written down, so that's what I'm looking at. A flare is an exacerbation of a chronic disease. It occurs when symptoms of a disease that has been present for a long period of time suddenly worsens. I guess that's to say anything you've had for a while. Let's say you broke your ankle. Every once in a while your ankle probably hurts, even if you did that a decade ago. It's similar in that sense. The next question is probably, what causes a flare? This varies by illness and person, so I'm just going to list what causes mine to happen. Exercise, which is very inconvenient because you kind of need that to stay healthy, lose weight, whatever. Stress. That's also very hard to avoid, as life as an adult is quite stressful. Activities such as socializing. So physical activities kind of go under exercise, but things like parties, large gatherings, etc., while they're very enjoyable, they do put a strain on your body to function for longer than you might if you were at home. Weather change. This is a huge one for me. If the temperature changes too quickly, if it goes from sunny to raining or raining to snowing, this winter has been very rough. Living in the Midwest is not great for this because our weather is not at all consistent. The only consistent thing is that it's unpredictable. Normie illnesses. So this includes the flu, a cold, allergies, anything like that will cause the chronic illness to flare up. This is one I didn't really think about until I experienced it. So poor sleep from anything. Like when I was on steroids, I had really bad insomnia, but also a bad mattress. Our mattress was pretty worn out, and so I wasn't getting great sleep, and that led to me having probably a month-long flare. It was not fun. So moving on to what my flare feels like and what happens during a flare. I have two types of flares. One comes from the chronic fatigue syndrome and the fibromyalgia, and the other one comes from the endometriosis. I'm going to start with the one I just recently finished, I guess, so you can understand why I have been gone for a month. So I have a nice list here. I'm just going to kind of go down it. Muscle and joint pain. This is probably something all of us have experienced, like when you have the flu and your whole body aches. That's what it feels like 24/7, and mine was for a month. As for joint pain, it also adds joint weakness. So there were some days I could not use my hands. Every joint in my finger, my wrist, I was having to use arthritis, like roll-on medication for that. And it still felt like my hands were being crushed by machines. Also, like my knees, even my elbows hurt. It's an inflammation property that goes with my illnesses. So it is not rheumatoid arthritis, but the pain is very similar. As in, with rheumatoid arthritis, your body is attacking your joints. With my illnesses, my body is attacking everything, including my joints. That leads me to the next one, weakness. So I couldn't use my hands quite frequently. I had to have help opening things. I had to get hand massages. But also, it's very difficult to sit up. Your body is quite heavy. Your head, I think they said, weighs 8 to 10 pounds. It's like a bowling ball. So obviously, like, I would just hunch and slump because I was too weak to hold my body up. I Had to use a seat in the shower or skip showering because standing was just not happening. Washing my hair was very difficult, so sometimes I had to have help with that as well. That leads into severe exhaustion. So part of fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome is just endless exhaustion, not even just fatigue, it's straight up exhausting. But when I go through a flare, it's to the point I was sleeping 20 to 21 hours a day. So I was sleeping a lot. It didn't feel restful. I felt drugged is the only way to put it, which all of these kind of like go in order. So brain fog, memory issues, and trouble concentrating. When you're that exhausted, your brain just stops functioning. You feel like you're on some sort of medication. You can't remember anything. You walk into a room and don't even know why you're there. You can't remember conversations. You can't focus on anything. Like writing this list that I have here wouldn't have been possible. I would have not been able to focus on it whatsoever, which makes it difficult to cook, shower. Any of those things are not happening. So this next one is kind of strange. Severe dehydration. This doesn't come from me not drinking water. I drink plenty of water. Even when I'm sleeping a lot, I try to make sure I wake up regularly and stay hydrated. But because my body is kind of working overtime fighting itself, it's similar to having a cold or a flu. You need extra hydration because your body's doing extra work. So I need things like Gatorade, Powerade, anything with electrolytes and salt, as well as some sugar to just keep my body hydrated, because I can drink 100 gallons of water a day and I will still somehow be dehydrated. Dizziness. This, I don't know if it's for everyone with this, but because I have blood pressure problem, that flares up as well, and standing, even sitting, just causes me to become dizzy and even faint. There's nothing I can do about it. I take a blood pressure medication, but during a flare, it just doesn't work. Headache, tension headache. Everyone knows what both of these are. During this time, neither of them are avoidable. I have a regular headache, usually a sinus headache, but then I get a tension headache from my muscles contracting as well as struggling to hold my body up. It puts even more force on those muscles and just causes severe knots. Nausea. This is a fun one. Everything makes me nauseous. Food, beverages. I'm just nauseous all the time. I do have nausea medication which helps. I also find that Diet Pepsi or even regular Pepsi helps to settle my stomach, but even then, doesn't always work. Intestinal issues. This can be heartburn, constipation, diarrhea, usually all of the above. My body doesn't know what it's doing, and so along with the nausea, everything in my midsection is a mess. There's not much I can do about that. Can't really take medication to help with the diarrhea without causing severe constipation, and they kind of fluctuate. Be constipated for half the day and then diarrhea. It'll just go back and forth, so there's really no helping that. A low-grade fever. I never have a fever that warrants me going to the doctor or the emergency room or anything like that. If I do have a low-grade fever, my face is warm to the touch, I have cold sweats, hot flashes, and if I take my temperature, it runs slightly high. Only maybe 1.5 to 2 degrees. Usually more like 1.5, but it's definitely noticeable. Sore throat, swollen glands. I have a bit of that going here. I always have it to a degree. I also just don't have a jaw, thanks to my round face. But I lose my voice, my throat hurts so bad. All of this gets swollen to where swallowing becomes difficult. Blurry vision, floaters, and trouble focusing your eyes. I get floaters so bad that I just keep my eyes closed for hours at a time because I can't stand it. I have very healthy eyes. I go for my regular eye exams. There's nothing wrong, no glaucoma, no nerve issues, nothing. This only seems to happen during my flares. Same with blurry vision, as well as trouble focusing eyes. I can't focus on text. I can focus on the TV, but even that is kind of difficult. So usually I'm kind of just laying there with my eyes closed or just staring at the ceiling, which isn't very fun. And the last one I have here is loss of appetite. This kind of goes with anybody's illness, no matter who you are, but I just find myself eating less. One reason is I'm sleeping a lot more, so my body's not burning calories the way that it normally does, but I'm also just nauseous and in pain, and that makes it very difficult to eat. Moving on to when my endometriosis flares, that's a little bit different. I regularly have this. It's called endobelly, and it's where you bloat significantly. Had this the other day to where I had to hide myself because I looked 6 months pregnant. It'll come out of nowhere, and usually the only way I can get rid of it is with a heating pad for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then it's fine. I have no idea what it is. Severe pain in your stomach, pelvic area, and your lower back. That is from the scar tissue. I also have nerve damage, so that kind of flares up as well. Nausea, which comes from pain. Cramps, such as period cramps, but they last forever. I want to say before I started my treatment for endometriosis, I had cramps for like 5 years straight. There wasn't a moment of the day for that time period that I didn't have cramps. It was miserable. I also found that Motrin for me works better than any other medicine for that. And then constipation, diarrhea. I have lesions on my colon, so when they flare up, I'll fluctuate within, an hour. I'll go from not being able to go, but feeling like I have to go, to like not being able to stop. It's very unfortunate. That is that. And we've come to the last question I think anyone would have, and that is how to manage a flare. And I wish I had an answer for this because there isn't one. The main thing you can do is rest and wait it out. It could be a day, it could be a month, it could be a year. And that sounds really depressing because it is, but there's not much to do besides wait. Make sure you rest, take care of yourself, have heating pads, lots of fluids, including electrolyte drinks, and just hope that it doesn't last very long. I'm happy to say that I'm feeling like my normal self again, which is never good or healthy, but I can at least take a shower and eat food, and I'm not sleeping for 20 some hours a day. It started to get depressing because I will be 30 soon, and I was just sleeping the rest of my 20s away. I feel like I touched on almost everything, but if there are more questions anyone has, you can just let me know in the comments. I will be happy to answer them. I guess that's it. This was a pretty quick video. It's only been 19 minutes, and yeah, I will see you guys on Tuesday.